and go to page 4. We'll start with those Shanti mantras. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. So, the topic of this retreat is Ishavasya Upanishad. So, what I intend to do is to supplement what Pujya Swamiji is doing. So, the verse that I have mentioned, Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite, is a placeholder to bring in whatever is needed. Because the Upanishad will present some aspects, and I feel that it is better to complement it rather than try to bring in a separate topic here. So that's the intention I have. That's why you don't see any verses, but I will be traveling all over in the Gita or elsewhere. Okay? So, Viritatmananji was the teacher I first listened to Vedanta from, so I have a great respect for him. It's a privilege that I can be with him to teach. So with that, we will now begin. Okay? So what did we see this morning? What is Upanishad? Self-knowledge. So what did we see in the story in the end? We are looking for a 10th man, right? So what is the whole life? You are searching for what? Are you searching for yourself really? Are you really searching for yourself? See, that's the question to be looked at, right? What are we searching for? We're searching for happiness. And where do we search? Outside. Where is it? Inside? Should we do a surgery and find it? The question is, what are we looking for? True, we are searching. But what are we searching for? What is the absolute? Ever pervading. These are good words, but do you understand them? See, words when used, we should be very cautious. Eternal, ever pervading, bliss. These are all words. Please look into what you understand from those words. Because a meaningless word doesn't help. It should mean something to us. Every word must mean something to us. What does Shankara say about pursuit of life in Bhajagovindam? Angam galitam, palitam mundam, dashana vihinam jatam tundam, vriddho yati grihitva dandam, tadapina munchati asha pindam. What is the human pursuit? Looking for something. Angam galitam, talking of an old man, has lived a full life. What's the state of his body? It's all weakened, falling apart. Galitam. Galitam is, literally kind of melting away. That's how age takes care of our body, right? Jara. Angam galitam. What's the status of the hair on his head? Palitam. It's all ripe. Either white or it doesn't exist. Right? The hair fall off, right? Just like teeth fall off, hair fall off. Palitam mundam. Dashana vihinam jatam tundam. Tundam means the mouth, the face. What should it normally have? The mouth, teeth. It is called dashana. Dashana vihinam means what? The mouth is bereft of teeth. So you can imagine his age, okay? Dashana vihinam jatam tundam. How does he walk? He is old. Vriddha. Vayovriddha. Old. How does he walk? Grihitva dandam. With a walking stick. He cannot walk on his own. He walks with a stick. Still what? Tadapi. Na munchati asha pindam. Even now the man hopes that somehow he will find something which will make him happier. Right? How do you spend your life? Balastavat kridasaktaha. When you're a child, any child, what do? Spend your time doing? Playing. Krida. Kridaya asaktaha. Kridasaktaha. Your commitment is playing. Balastavat kridasaktaha. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. Tarunaha means now you skip all the in-between, okay? You are now a young man, young woman. Now where does your interest take you? To a young man or a young woman? A young man, a young woman. That's the chemistry. Tarunastavat taruni sakta. Universal. This is human beings' universal situation, right? Then what happens? Life goes on with this, with some pursuit or another. Then what happens? Vriddhastavat chintasakta. So he has skipped middle age, etc. He has already come to old age. Now what is he doing? Chintasakta. He is anxious. What will happen to this body? What will happen to my children? What about my grandchildren? Who will inherit my house? What about the business I have built up? All various ideas he has. He is thinking very hard. Chintas, always worried, anxious, not at peace. Parame brahmani kopina saktaha. There is nobody who is interested in knowing that which will solve all the problems. So, are we looking for ourselves as we know? Or are we looking for something that will make me comfortable? We are always looking for something which I believe will be the magic mantra. So like the Aladdin's lamp, you rub, one genie will come. And then he asks you, what do you want? Anything you ask, he will give it to you. But suppose a genie comes to you today, what will you ask for? Because we can only ask for what we are interested in, right? So if we think the problem is going to be solved by gaining something, that's what we will ask. And what is the typical life pursuit? All of us have been through life. What's our life pursuit? You gain something or you get rid of something. These are two pursuits we have. Either you want to add or you want to get rid of. You want to avoid or want to retain. Gain, retain. Right? And other side is what? Avoid, get rid of. And what is that? What drives you to do that? That by gaining or retaining or avoiding and getting rid of, I am going to be what? Happy. How often have we done that? For how long have we done that? And has that changed? What we are going after changes. Balastavat kridasaktaha. He is interested in games as a child. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. What we are interested in is changing constantly. But that I am interested in something other than myself, has it changed? Hasn't changed. Do we think that by doing some more search and finding some more thing, we are going to find that magic solution which will make us okay? If we do, that's wonderful. But every time we look, we are only looking because we think it's going to make me someone better. So if you're doing applying for a university, a grad school or MBA, what do you write nowadays? There is something called an objective, a statement of objective you have to write. What do we write there? I'm sure many of you have written one, right? Or will be seeing your children write one. What do people write there? What is the statement of objective? At the age of 15, 20, 21, 25, what objective do you have? Health? Wealth, okay. So wealth. Does anybody write, I want to make wealth? You check out. It's not a good word to use. They won't select you for that, okay? What should you write? Huh? To learn? That's okay, some places. But you're not ambitious enough. What do you want? You have to show ambition. Right? You want a job. And what kind of a job? You want to be a peon or a helper, a janitor? What do you want? I want to be an entrepreneur. Okay, I want to be a CEO. I want to be an entrepreneur. Right? That's what you want. And then they say, this guy has got some fire in his belly. Right? You need somebody. People, see, even when you finish your course, there's campus placement. Right? You go to business school, you have a campus placement. What do you do in the campus placement? Everybody has studied the same stories, okay? How do you distinguish yourself? What makes somebody hire you? What makes someone hire you? Ambitious, okay, what else? Leadership qualities, what does it mean? Manage the self? No. No, I don't go with that. Okay. Huh? Manage such a way that you will enhance the wealth or enhance the objectives that are set for you. Right? Again, what is that? Something other than you. So, if you bring in so much wealth into the business, we will give you 1% of that. That's how it works, May not be 1%, but whoever owns the business, they take it all. What they give you is a crumbs, Have some. Because you're helping me earn some, it's a good deal. You help me make money, I'll give you some money. You don't have the capital or the guts to put the capital in it. So what do? You go find somebody else who has capital. You work for him. Good thing is what? If you mess up, it doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter to you so much. Whereas the fellow who's put the capital, it matters to him. So what does he do? He finds the bank to put the capital really. He puts a very little amount. Right? That's the way the business works. So you go to a bank, and if you don't do well, you say, I'm bankrupt. So who lost the money? So then you have a bailout program to bail them out. But this is the way the world works. And this is recognized very well by our rishis. Very well recognized. So, if you ask what is the content, what is the human pursuit about, how do you describe the human pursuit? What do we pursue? If we want to understand something, we need to put it in heads or categories which are easy to deal with, right? You can't look at, there are 7 billion people now on this earth. So what are the pursuits of 7 billion people? How many? How many would you have? Numbers? Million? Billion? One person has only one pursuit or more? How many each one of you has? Only one pursuit? Many. So how much will it be? How many will it be? It will be many. But still, what do we say? If we look at it carefully, there are only 4 categories. In fact, let's start with 3. What are the pursuits? Basic pursuits, untaught pursuits. So Swamiji used the word search, I am using the word pursuit. No big difference, okay? You should see the connection. So I'm searching for what? Artha. Sanskrit word is artha. Artha means what? Security. Wealth is correct. Artha Shastra would be economics. Correct? But artha means what? Something which you seek is called artha, really. Arthyateti artha. Whatever you seek can be called artha. And typically you have a security need. Economic security, social security, right? Security in terms of, the country you belong to. In terms of what will happen to you later, it's a lot of security being sought. So if you look at psychology, they used to have an unproven theory called the Maslow's theory. What is Maslow's theory? What will it present at the bottom? It's basically human motivation. The idea was, how do you motivate the people who work in the factories, industrial revolution time? So what did they do? They said, first need is the security needs. So whether I'm taught or untaught, every one of us wants to be secure. In some way, physically secure, first. right? Food security we need. Place of living we need. Then relationships is also security, many a time. Correct? So you seek that. But does that end there? What is another pursuit we go for? So if the basic security needs are met, now what is basic is questionable, okay? But if you feel secure enough that you have spare, money to spare, time to spare, then what do you go for? Something which makes you happy, which is not something you have to do. It's not essential, mandatory for you. What do we call that? We categorize the entire pursuit of that kind as kama. Kama means what you desire to do. It's not something you have to do. But given half a chance, you would like to do it. Right? You're happy to do it. So suppose I ask someone, would you like to be in the World Cup, football finals in Qatar, watching it? Some people might say, yes, we would like to do that. Or you would like to watch next ODI, wherever it happens, We have our own interests. Somebody else may say, that's useless, I want to go for a music concert. Somebody may say, I'll go for a katha. But we have interests. Right? And all these are what? Kama. Artha, kama. This is the untaught pursuit of every human being. You don't need to be educated. You don't need to go to school and be told, please pursue your security. Please go after what you like. Avoid what you don't like. Do we get taught? Do we need to be taught? Naturally, the inclination is that way. This is what majority of humanity is after. Right? But whenever we start these pursuits, we start with a given starting point. This body, this mind, given a certain family background, given certain family wealth, right? Family values. So you will see typically people whose families are in business will tend to start a business. First generation starting a business is not that common. And a person who is in a family who has, doctors tends to go towards medicine, studying the children. You can see the influence of the family and the surroundings, how one normally takes to. Right? So you go after these things. But can you imagine a person in some slum in Dharavi in Mumbai becoming a very successful businessman? What's the likelihood? Not that it's impossible. What's the likelihood of a person who comes from there? They will call it a rags to riches story. Right? But what made him disadvantaged? What made you advantaged? What gave it advantage? Did you choose to be born where you are and the family you did? You didn't. So is it random? Would there be a cause for it? Or is there no cause for it? Have you seen anything in the universe for which there is no cause? It's an open question, okay? Anything that you think has no cause. If you say there is none, then I will ask you, is there a cause for where you are born, how you are born? And if there is, the starting point itself you better improve. This life is gone already. Correct? Because to pursue anything, you need a body, you need your abilities, you need the backing of family, you need whatever you need. It doesn't take much. So all it needs is where you are born. If you are born in Palestine, or if you're born in Afghanistan in the last 20 years, where would you be? Where would we be? Or if you're born in, a place like Ukraine now, not 10 years ago. If you were born in Russia 50 years ago and now, is there a difference? If you were born in China 50 years ago and now, is there a difference? There is a difference. So, what does it take to be at the right place at the right time? How do you know? How do you make sure that you are at the right place at the right time? Even with this body, can you be sure you will be at the right place at the right time? We don't have a sure way of doing that. Right? Now, we have no science can prove the relationship between your body and anything else. As far as science is concerned, everything has to be objectively seen, recorded, and be verifiable. Right? So if there is a scientific experiment, and if I say this is science, I should be able to see it, you should be able to see it, any fellow who sees should be able to measure and get the same result. Only then you would call it scientific, correct? Otherwise it's not scientific. Now I say, every one of us is born for a particular cause. How are you going to measure that? You don't have data points to measure. But logically, does it seem reasonable that there must be a cause why we are all different? And that, this is a fact, is said by what? Is said by the Veda. The Veda says, look, you're born because in a given situation, with a given body, with a given mind, because of what you have sown in a past body and past mind. Not one. You have enough karmas to be born as anything. But a set of karmas comes to give birth to a given body. Right? So this brings us to another area where we say, the result of an action, if I were to invite you all and give you a grand dinner, what is the result? You feel happy is one result. I feel happy feeding you is one result. Is there anything else to it? Suppose you reach out to somebody who is in trouble. Is that just that, or is there anything more to it? What is visible is only that much, that you helped somebody in need and you felt good, or he said, thank you, I'm indebted to you. But is there more to it? Not that you discern, but we say you get punyam. What is punya? Punya is you have adrishta. Adrishta is what? Unseen results. When you do any action, there are seen results and there are unseen results of an action. What is unseen results? How do you know there are unseen results? Because they will manifest themselves as favorable or unfavorable situations in your life. This life or another life. This is called adrishta karma. And this adrishta is broadly divided twofold. What are they? One which will give you good situations, one which will give you, good means favorable, what you consider favorable. And what is unfavorable? See, there is no absolute favorable or unfavorable. Favorable or unfavorable is what you make of it really. Suppose a person lost everything in the business. Is it favorable or unfavorable? Unfavorable. But suppose that made him turn to the knowledge and he gained this self-knowledge and became free. Is it favorable or unfavorable? What do you call favorable? What do you call unfavorable? It's a point of view. You really cannot say, see, the word good and bad, favorable, unfavorable, is all a point of view. So the Shastra says, punya means what is normally considered a situation which will keep you comfortable. It's called punya karma. And what may come as a situation which is challenging, difficult, would be called a papa karma. If this is what happens, then I better know what actions of mine will give me punya, what will give me papa. Because, this life is already done for. At least let me prepare for a better start. That would be the way you would look at it, right? Logically. A logical human, thinking human should think like that. So if you want a better start, what should you do? Who tells you there is punya papa? The Veda says that. Shastra says that. So who can tell you what will produce punya, what will produce papa? Veda alone can tell you that. There's another myth people think. Veda is scientific. They want to prove Veda is scientific. Give up. Better give up. Because better to understand, science, where science ends, there Veda begins. Veda is not scientific. If it is scientific, science will disprove everything in Veda. You will be in trouble. Why? It will try to disprove. They can't. They say you can't prove it scientifically. And we say, what cannot be proved scientifically alone, we are interested in talking. You understand? So you cannot tell me, why do you say this? If I do something good, I'll get some good result. Why do you say this? It is true. Prove it. You disprove it. Why should I prove it? Somebody says prove it, you ask them to disprove it. It's not your onus to prove anything, okay? Don't fall into the trap. Because people will try to say, there are people who are baiting us. So you are a believer. Let me see. How do you say this? What will happen if you do this? On eclipse. On an eclipse day, the tradition is what? You don't eat food during the eclipse. You make sure what's eaten is digested. So there are some people here in Coimbatore, Chennai, etc. What will they do? They will organize a lunch during the eclipse. And they will advertise it. And they will show all of the meeting and see nothing happened to us. We are not talking of Drishtaphalam. We are talking of, and secondly, even that, do you know what could happen? Suppose you listen to this, keep the cell phone in your ear all the time. Is that good or bad? How do you know it's bad? How do you know it affects you? Is it proven scientifically? But people think like that, right? Now I've heard people don't give land for these mobile towers because they say that those waves mess up, right? Today people are happy to say they have a very comfortable life. From freezer to microwave. Supermarket to freezer, freezer to microwave, microwave to my stomach. Wonderful relationship. No effort. Is that good for us? Sounds good, seems convenient. You can get anything you want, and anybody can eat, anybody can cook. No cooking required, right? Better than ordering a pizza. I can buy my own. I'm eating at home. Feels good. But is that good for you? I'm not saying it's bad, okay? Don't read in between the lines. All I'm saying is, don't be surprised if 15 years from now they'll say, we found with the research that people who have eaten microwave food consistently have a 50% higher chance of getting a carcinogenic situation, a cancer situation. Then you'll say, oh. And every few days you'll read in the paper what? Is coffee good for health or not? Is alcohol good or not? Beer. Is beer good for you or not? Somebody says yes. Yeah? You ask somebody else, they'll say no. Who is right? Who is right? Do you think we have a definite view on that? Do you think cholesterol is something really bad for you? Somebody says it's okay. And the whole world is going like this. Why? You cannot say anything definitive. It's not clear. So whatever you call science today can become fiction tomorrow. And what you call fiction today can be science tomorrow. But we are not interested in either of these. Because these are within the capacity of the human being to perceive and infer. What cannot be perceived and inferred, how do you know? That is the place of Veda. It is a means of knowledge to tell you about such means and ends which you cannot figure out by perception or inference. You cannot do anything with your own ideas to say how to get a better situation. Not only to be born into a better situation, but when you feel helpless. What is Ramayana story? How does it begin? Dasharatha is a great king. Right? What is his grief? No children. What did he do? I'm sure he tried all his, all the fertility clinics available at that time. Right? May not be today. But then what did he do after that? He did a yajna called Putra Kama Ishti. Ishti means a yajna. Therefore it's called Putra Kama Ishti. So what does it mean? A yajna which is done with a desire for progeny. And what will happen if you do that? you will be blessed with progeny. Right? Did Dasharatha get the blessing? Yes. Now, we don't believe in it. That's your choice. That's your privilege. This is called Shraddha. What is Shraddha? It is a belief. If it can be proved, it is Shraddha pending verification. And there are certain things which will remain as Shraddha forever. You can never prove it. Right? You can never prove it. But it has been coming down to us from how many generations? Untold number of generations. Does something which is a lie come to you generation after generation? Normally it doesn't, okay? I'm not saying never happens, but it's come down. And we have Shraddha as what? Did Rama really exist? Question. Is it history or fiction? Is it the creation of Valmiki? We don't care, honestly. Our commitment is not about whether Rama walked or not, but what did Rama do, what did Rama say. Even if it's fiction, it's a great lesson. So what is Rama called? Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Vigrahavan means, see, I have not brought Dharma, I am introducing Dharma now. What is Dharma? Dharma is the third category of pursuit. Artha, Kama, Dharma. What is Dharma? Dharma is, see, let me say one more thing before that. Suppose you want a better afterlife, a better start, that comes within Artha and Kama. Because you want some security or some desire to be fulfilled in a future life. I want to go to heaven. It's no different from saying, I want to go to the United States of America. No different. How long is the queue right now for a visa? 3 years. I hear it's 3 years. And how many people will stand there in the queue? You can see, nowadays it's lesser. Earlier when we didn't have the drop box system, people would line up at Chennai Consulate when? Previous night. Because next morning is too late. So you can see, this is all Kama pursuit, okay? Artha Kama pursuit. So, इस life में नहीं होगा, चलो अगले life के लिए application डाल दो. So what do? Start doing some puja. Next life, let me have better start. It is within Artha Kama. But there is another pursuit called Dharma. What is Dharma? You do what is to be done by you. And you keep yourself free from hurt, especially guilt. Hurt or guilt. What is guilt? Guilt is a result of not doing what was to be done. Right? An act of commission which should not have been done, or an act of omission which should have been done. Two possibilities. Either you omitted what you should have done, or you committed what you should not have done. And nobody needs to tell you. You see it yourself. See, is there anybody here who doesn't know that if I do something hurtful to somebody, the other person gets hurt? Is there anybody who doesn't know? Whether you're told or not, do you sense it or not? Right? So, if somebody is hurt, they are in pain, do you feel that or not? How do you know? Do you have to be told? Do you have to be taught? And is this something only peculiar to you and me, or is that true for anybody in Africa or Alaska or Antarctica, wherever they are? True for all. True for all. Rich, poor, true for all. King or a soldier, true for all. If something is true for all, is it something in everyone's head, or is that something which exists? You all feel it. What do you perceive? Do you perceive something that doesn't exist or exists? It must exist. You don't see it in a particular form, but it exists. What is to be done and what is not to be done exists in your own head. It doesn't have to come as 10 commandments where somebody comes and gives it to you. Pujya Swami used to say, if you have a Ferrari, you know what's a Ferrari? Does it go fast or slow? Should know at least that much, right? Or a Porsche, You have a Ferrari. Suppose there is a Ferrari with no brakes. How would that be? You have a wonderful Ferrari which can go very fast but has no brakes. Would you call it a well-designed Ferrari? We'll put you on the Autobahn in Germany, so there are no speed limits. But somewhere you want to stop, right? So Swamiji would say, to have a Ferrari with no brakes would be what? A bad design. A bad design. You have an accelerator, gas pedal, you better also have a brake pedal, right? So what do you find is you have an ability to make choices in life. Is that true or not? Do we believe that we have a free will or not? Freedom to choose. Somebody may say, Swamiji, I don't think I have much freedom. But you have some freedom or not? How do you exercise your choice? How do you make those choices? When you're given a will, how do you make those choices? There must be a basis to make a choice. What's the basis? Artha Kama? Normally, it is Artha Kama. I want this, I don't want this. I like this, I don't like this. Now, Dharma is another thing being coming. What is that? It doesn't matter what I accomplish, but how I feel finally depends on my omissions and commissions and how I respond to them. Correct? Even if I accomplished a lot, what did Arjuna say? He says, I don't know whether we should win this battle or whether Dhritarashtra and company should win the battle. Whether we should win wealth, which is laced, tinged with the blood of all these people, or is it better to not win? What is better? So, why is Arjuna having difficulty? Because he says, the ones we are, if we have a victory, with whom will we celebrate this victory? Those are the fellows who are arraigned here. By killing them, am I going to gain anything? Maybe it's better to walk away. Guilt, forthcoming guilt already. Is it right? He calls Krishna there. He says, Arisudana, Madhusudana, saying, hey Krishna, you only kill your enemies. You are not a person who has to kill his own teacher. You are not Guru Sudana. You are asking me to become one who will kill Drona, who will kill Bhishma. I have played in his lap. I love them. How can I do that? Guilt. So, Dharma is being free, doing something which will keep you from guilt, free from guilt and hurt in general. You try. Right? So, this is the value. How do you know it's something to be done? The Veda says, Dharma is a Purushartha. Which means, Artha is a Purushartha. Now somebody says, Swamiji, I am very dharmic. What? I don't make money by cheating. What's wonderful? This is called, Artha is the main goal. Dharma is secondary. Which means, money making is my goal all right, but I will do it in a straight way. Without cutting corners, bending the rules, etc. But there is one more possibility. I am not interested in wealth. I am not interested in fulfilling desires either. Because all this should leave me finally with a contented being. And that contentment doesn't come from these. This we discerned. Contentment does not lie in money. Right? I broke all the laws and made the money. Unfortunately, when that becomes the norm, the young children think that's all that matters. But even when we do that, you know internally that there's something which will prick you inside. And if we have been completely brainwashed the other way, it's unfortunate. And that's again what karmas you're born with. If you're born in a situation where you get brainwashed, that's unfortunate. If you're born into a religious tradition where you cannot question anything, that's unfortunate. Either you believe it or else we'll have a fatwa. That's unfortunate. Freedom to think you enjoy is a big fortune. If you open your mouth, Swamiji used to say, if you go to Saudi Arabia, you should be careful. So somebody went to Saudi Arabia and he was told you have to go to the dentist to get some work done. He said, I can't. Why? I have to open my mouth. And they may arrest me. So point is, you can't open your mouth. So where does Swamiji speak when he goes to Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that? In the Indian consulate, not outside. If you open your mouth outside, you're in trouble. If you take a picture of Bhagavan, they will confiscate it because it's a form. It's not allowed. You get money. You work their oil rigs, you get money. But what do you sell? Your soul. You sell your freedom. So that freedom that we enjoy, the freedom to question, the freedom to do what is right, that freedom is not universal. It's given universally Bhagavan, but curtailed by our fellow human beings. Right? What happened to Galileo? What happened to Copernicus? Were they wrong or were they right? They said, what did they say? Young man, do you know? Earth was spherical. Okay, then. What goes around the sun? Earth goes around the sun or sun goes around the earth? Who said that? So, was he right or wrong? He was right. But what did the whole world say at that time? They said he is wrong. Right? So what did they want to do? He was to be taken care of. Right? Taken care of means you know what? Right? They have to exorcise the Saturn from him. So what did they do? He was made to recant his words, write an apology. Why? Because he can't live, no society, no freedom. This society, our Vedic society, is one that respects the freedom to think, freedom to speak. We can agree to disagree. That doesn't mean I kill you. Because it's a tradition of knowledge. What is right will always prevail. What is wrong will go. So dharma is a pursuit of values, right values, honesty, for itself. Honesty for the sake of honesty. In the British India, a person was taken to court with the British judge and was arraigned with some crime. And the judge said to him, you just say I didn't do it. You just say I didn't do it. I'll set you free. What do you think somebody would do? The judge is telling him, you say I didn't do it, I'll set you free. What did he do? He said, no, I did it. You give me whatever punishment is due. I have to keep the truth. And the judge didn't understand. What's going on? These people come with a loincloth on them. They are poor. I am the great judge. I give them the freedom to choose freedom. And he says, punish me. Why? Value for dharma. Honesty is valued. Why should it be all valued? Because that is what really counts, not the wealth, not my achievements. Internally, I have a clean mind. I'm not making $1 billion. I live on 100 rupees. Even today, you will see that a man who makes 100 rupees will offer you a cup of tea. You go to the street, they will offer you a cup of tea. But a man who makes $1 million will think before he can part with $10. This is a value system, okay? Dharma is a value in itself. But even when you follow dharma, challenges are there. In fact, challenges are there in any of these pursuits, right? When you try to be honest in this country today, it's not that easy, right? So it looks like we are in a situation where they will say this is Kali Yuga. True, it's Kali Yuga. But the point is, I'm saying the values have dharma has gone down. And what has come up? Adharma is reigning more and more, right? But all these are ends. What will they give you? Suppose you follow artha. Suppose you pursue kama. You'll get artha and kama. Is there any amount of wealth that will make you, all right, I'm satiated for good? If you are in doubt, you should look at Elon Musk. Right? How much wealth does he have? I mean, you can name anybody, okay? Bill Gates, They may have huge charitable foundations set up, but are they really giving? I recently read, Jeff Bezos has difficulty giving, but his wife is able to give away. Because his problem is, he is not able to find the right people to give money to. Not easy. See, because what will you say? I don't want my money to be misused. Giving is not easy. Even giving is a very responsible act. And that also is analyzed in our Shastra. It tells you what is the best giving, what is the middle giving, what is the giving which is not very, very good. But giving itself is a value. Dhanam is a value. Right? So this Veda, where did it come from? What is Veda? I said it's a means of knowledge. Who gave this means of knowledge? Could it be a human creation? If it's a human creation, then I should be able to create it too. I am also human. We say that the Vedas are the knowledge which came with the creation. It's not something which is, separate. Whatever the source of creation, we'll look into that word, okay? Whatever the source of what we see, there's only one source of all that is here. There's only one reality that is here. There's only one thing which is, and that one thing we call Ishvara. So Swamiji's words would be, what is Ishvara. What is means what? Anything you say is, desk is Ishvara. This, whatever it is, pretending grapes is Ishvara. Real grapes, Ishvara. Somebody is jealous of you, jealousy, Ishvara. Somebody is very wicked, Ishvara. Somebody is very kind, Ishvara. There may be a meteorite which crashes on the earth. Meteorite is what? Ishvara. Earth is what? Ishvara. What is Ishvara. The implications of this are huge. May not be clear at this point. That's what our journey will be. Right? So what is the name of the Upanishad? Ishavasya Upanishad. Right? Now, what are we looking for? We are looking for dharma, artha, kama. What is the normal pursuit as we are born in any culture, any time? Artha first, then kama. Dharma is not universal. Not universal in terms of, not universally a human pursuit. In Vedic culture, it is a pursuit. In fact, the order is dharma, artha, kama. Not artha, kama, dharma. Dharma, artha, kama. Means what? Values come first. Then come other ends. So, if you can be contented, what more do you need? Everything is seeking of that contentment, that fulfillment. But we already say, if I have 10 lakh rupees in my account, I'll be okay. So you state number. Now that number becomes your news. Because that's what you want. It's not anybody has to say it. You set up your number. Or you say, if I make it to IIT, then I'm okay. Parents instrumental in setting this up too. You have to make it. You have to make it. Start from 7th standard, his sports are out. He has to go. Why? Because it's a rat race. The only thing we know is, I'm a middle class parent. We don't have anything else. You have to make it to education. And everything else is reserved. And we have a cut-off. If you don't do well, your neck may get cut off in the competitive world. So what do? You compete. So now your life is what? Forget everything else. JEE. And if it doesn't make it, the whole world can collapse. Because the point is, that's his commitment. He's put so much into it. 4 of his friends made it. He didn't make it. Then he'll say, I'll try 2 more years. If he made it, wonderful. This is engineering. What happens after medicine? You finish MBBS. Then I want to do an MD. How many MD seats do you have? Open merit. In the specialty you want. So 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years later, I have seen people who are still trying to get MD seat. And they're very distraught that they can't make it. What's lacking with you? No, I didn't get an MD. You set yourself up. Society puts the values somewhere and you own them up and you say, this is what I want. But is that what makes you happy? We have to examine. So, do any of these pursuits directly give you contentment? What are you really seeking through artha? Contentment, fulfillment, right? What are you seeking through fulfilling desires? You want to be happy or unhappy? Happy. Even if you follow dharma, why do you do it? You want to be comfortable, free from guilt, be happy. So, what are you really seeking? Contentment. Is that a fair statement? This is to be understood, okay? We don't have much time. Therefore, we cut corners here and there. But the point is, it can be proved that what we are really seeking is contentment alone. And where is contentment? Is it in a thing or is it in your attitude? If there is something called contentment available on Amazon, I would order it right away. Even before the class is over, they'll deliver it. Prime, Amazon Prime, it'll come. But does it work that way? Prime is meant to prime you up to order even more. That's all it's meant for. But the fact is, you look into it. Where does your contentment lie? Don't take the statement for granted. This study of Vedanta especially is not something where you swallow what is told. Don't go saying, Swamiji, I believe everything you say. It's no good. You have to see that that is the truth for you. It's your truth. Otherwise, it's the Vedas truth. What did Swamiji say this morning? Pustakastha ya vidya. If there is knowledge in a book, natad vidya. If there is money in somebody else's pocket, natad dhanam. When will it be vidya? When it is your understanding. When it will be dhanam? When you have the freedom to use it. When is it really vidya? When you have the knowledge is available to you for you to make choices. Any knowledge. Any knowledge which allows you to make choices is real knowledge. Otherwise, you make choices based on wrong understanding. Correct? So, this Vidya is what we are talking about, this entire prakarana. See, the Veda has two parts, okay? The first part of the Veda is more with Punya Papa. It tells you, do this, you will end up in good situation. Don't do this, you will be in good situation. If you do it, you will get into trouble. So what should you do? Avoid what is adharma, do what is dharma, and you will be on the right trajectory. But still, where will you be? See, suppose you have a rat race. Right? Now, what's a rat race? So, you're in the rat race. Suppose you won the rat race. What are you? Are you a cat or you're a rat? You're still a rat, okay? You continue to be a rat. Figure that out. You have to figure out the fact that any amount of running leaves you in the rat race. Do you want to get out of the rat race? Or do you want to remain a rat? Swamiji, I want to get out of the rat race, but if I get out, then I'm in trouble. Security is gone. I'm insecure. In fact, you have to keep running to stay where you are. You are a prof in university. You have done extremely well. You're a tenured professor. But can you stop running? You better produce more papers. If you don't, your position is at stake. Right? You have to have more money. To have more money, you need what? More papers. So you become a paper producing machine. In due course. Is that your true goal? Is that your true calling? Is that why you went to science? Look, I'm saying academics is also not insulated from this. Because now academics is all about getting funding now. Right? And who will fund you? Corporates who have their own interest. So somebody funds a research into fossil fuels. To show what? To confuse people that fossil fuels are not bad. That's their objective. Who is funding it? It's a non-profit organization. Who contributes? All the rich oil companies. Texaco, Chevron, whoever is there, they will all put money in that and they will produce it. What do the results say? They will just sow a doubt in your head. The research scholars say that fossil fuels are not so bad. Greenhouse effects are not really coming from that alone. Something they'll plant an idea. Once they plant the idea, you've done it. This is our Trump's method, What's Trump method? You say it's all fake news. Kuch pheko and call it fake news. Once you call it fake news, and there are enough people who believe that conspiracy theory now. Everything is a conspiracy. Nothing is really as it appears. Who do you believe? What do you believe? So, not easy to get out of the rat race unless you somehow discover I was never a rat. I was never a rat. I thought I was a rat and I have been running madly through this maze. But now you wake up and say, I wasn't a rat. And what I am not, I can never be. Therefore, why am I running? If that doubt comes, then Upanishad says something to you. That's when Upanishad walks in. When you are tired of artha pursuit, kama pursuit, and even dharma pursuit to some extent. To say, dharma you don't get tired, but you get tired of artha kama. And dharma sometimes is confused as punya papa, you go for punya papa, which is really kama. So dharma is, you still come, you still struggle, and is this all life is meant for, to keep struggling all the time? For the few moments of happiness? So somebody works a week for what? Weekend. Somebody works a year for what? Annual leave. Somebody works for 35 years for what? Retirement. So you work all your life to retire? And then you go looking for a consulting position. Right? Is this what we want? We have to examine, okay? Because this is what everybody does. But is this what I want to? So if you want medicines, where do you go? Pharmacy. Good. If you want vegetables, where do you go? A vegetable shop, right? If you want some hardware, where do you go? A hardware store. When do you go to Amazon? Huh? Can you get everything there or not now? So, one Amazon can put a lot of business out of business. Correct? So, if there is something which can give you whatever you are trying to gain in life through multiple dharma, artha, kama pursuits, then that would be the pursuit which will free you from these three. See, right now, I want a medicine, Amazon.com. Right? I want grocery, I don't know if they still sell it. I'm assuming they do, okay? You order. You want clothes, sports goods, what do you want? Books, our Gurukulam books you want, Swamiji's books, Amazon.com. You can get it. That's a fact. Right? You get e-books. You get real books also. You write your own book. You want to sell it? You tell Amazon, they'll make it possible. They will come to your house, pick up the printout, and deliver it to the fellow who wants it. It's amazing. Now, I'm saying, do you need to go to all the shops? If you don't mind Amazon making more money and getting all the employees out, all business, mom and dad shops are all gone. If you don't mind, what's convenient? Honestly, if I want to get something, rather than go and look in the city, it's easier to order on Amazon, and in half an hour I'll get the delivery at times, if in a big city, right? Now, suppose I said, whatever you can gain through artha, kama, dharma pursuits, you can get through one pursuit. Would you go after it? That's called a pursuit of moksha. Okay? A pursuit which will free you from the need of other pursuits. And interestingly, the pursuit is not a real effort-based pursuit, because moksha is understanding what? I was never a rat. See, if you have to become a cat from a rat, what do you need? You need to die as a rat and come back as a cat, which means you need punya. Otherwise, you will be born a rat again. Okay? So if you want punya, what's the means? You have to act, karma. But if you somehow figure out this rat business is only a costume I'm wearing, I'm not a rat, then you don't need to do anything. If you're already what you want to be, you don't need to do anything. But that needs to be discovered. And that discovery is to be made. But suppose I say, the search is for the self. How many of you buy it that, by knowing oneself you will be happy? How many of you buy that idea right now? By knowing yourself, you will be happy totally. Will you buy that idea right now or you won't? Not belief. Do you really buy the idea? No. So what do you want? You want something else, right? So I am telling you, I am offering you a supermarket where everything you will get. Then you will come, right? I am not saying, somebody asked, should we dismiss all our things yesterday? Dismiss question came, right? Should I dismiss? Swamiji, this very difficult. Why? You have to give up artha, you have to give up kama, you have to give up dharma, then only you get to moksha. Vairagyam. This is all half-baked knowledge, okay? How much difficulty do you have in putting your garbage out in the morning when the municipality truck comes? How many of you want to hold on to your garbage? You know what? Let me keep it for 2 more days. Kam mein aayega. Will you keep it? Vegetable waste, not solid waste. How would you like to keep it? For how long would you like to retain it? For how long? Would you like to keep your garbage with you? No. Do you hate your garbage? Do you hate your garbage? No. What's your attitude to the garbage? It's not something that's useful to me. Do you dismiss it? Do you push it out? You know what? It's not useful. Even as you unwrap your package, the packaging goes into the garbage bin. What comes to your cupboard? The clothes inside. Whatever comes. Right? So, when would you be happy letting something go? When you see that it doesn't serve you in any way. Right? So far it's important to you, you can't let go. You should not let go. That's sensibility, right? If something is valuable for me, you don't let go. You hold on to it. When will you let go? Like garbage. When you have no value for it, you let go. But suppose a child is holding on to some old package. What do you tell the child? It's worthless, throw it away. He has to learn from you that it has no worth. And then alone he will let go. Or what do? A child is holding on to a knife. An infant, It caught hold of a knife. What do you do now? And you know how a child holds something? Real tight. And the blade is millimeters away. What will you do? Will you try to grab the knife? That's one way. What else can you do to the child? Huh? You distract the child. With what? Something else. Something colorful. Right? So you know what Bhagavan says? Hey, here's something very colorful. Punyam. Okay? You want to go to heaven? This India and all, not fun. America is also trouble nowadays. You don't know when it's going down. And China, Big Brother is always watching you. Right? So, won't make it. So, I'll give a ticket to heaven. How about that? And what is heaven? You're born young. You don't go through a childhood, okay? You're born young. And whatever you wish for happens to you. And you don't die of old age. You just pop off one day. Does it sound attractive? And you have lots of dance and music and everything you enjoy there. Okay? Free. How long do you live? Don't worry. Very long. But you know what? For heaven you have to do something. You do some karma you do. Karma means an action. But to do that, you know what? You should follow dharma. You must follow dharma. You must follow values and attitudes. And then you do it, you will get to go to heaven. Why do you do dharma now? Not for dharma's sake. For heaven's sake. Literally for heaven's sake, okay? But what's in the process, what happens? Willingly, unwillingly, you start learning to manage your own mind. You learn to live a life of values. Heaven is not meant for you to go to heaven. Veda is telling you there is heaven. It's not telling you pursue it. It says, Jyotishtomena Swarga Kamo Yajeta. If you are interested in Swarga, you can do the ritual. If you are not, don't do it. If you are interested in children, do this. If you are interested in rain, do Kariri. You will get rain. People ask Swami, does it work? Puju Swami narrated this, how it happened in his own life. He said, the brahmachari, somebody said, Kariri Yajna will produce rain. And Swamiji said, can you demonstrate it? He said, yes. What do you need? Some things to do yajna. It costs some money. So a hat collection was made, money was collected, things were procured, and in an open ground, they set up a pendal to do the Kariri Homa. And everybody's blazing sun, blue skies. And one man walks in with an umbrella. Not for the sun. Who? The person who is going to perform this. He walks in with an umbrella, being very sure it will rain. That is called Shraddha. Understand what is Shraddha? No doubt. Veda says it will happen. Yajna was done. And before Purnahuti, as it is done, it began to pour. This is Swamiji's anecdote related in class at some time. What does it show? Come on, it just rained by chance. How can you prove Kariri produced it? A non-believer will not believe it anyway. See, if that's the attitude to come to Veda, I don't believe it. You're not going to go too far. You start with Shraddha. And Shraddha is what? A life of dharma will bless you. Will bless you. So, Veda has got, it's a book of knowledge. It informs you of what your perception and inference doesn't inform you. And tells you how to make your life better. How to get more wealth, how to get rain, how to get children, how to become a king. How to become Indra, the lord of all the devatas. How to become Brahmaji. It tells you all that. And if somebody says, having looked at all this, after all this, even if I become Indra, whatever begins will end. And again I will have to come back to do more work. I will still be a rat. If Indra figures out, I am still a rat, what should Indra do? He is the lord of the devas. What should he do? Then we say, you figure out the fact that contentment does not lie in anything. Examine and see this. Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirvedamayat nasti akritaha kritena. This is a mantra from Mundakopanishad. Having examined your own life, you understand, you come to a clear understanding that anything that is a result of an action is finite. Any finite action can only produce a finite result. You want to be happy. When do you want to be happy? Now or later? Now or later? I'm asking you a choice. Now or later? Now. Not later? What should the answer be? Now and later. Correct? Now and later. Where do we want to be happy? Here or outside? Here, not outside? Here and outside. So where do you want to be happy? Everywhere. When do you want to be happy? Relating to what you want to be happy? Everything. Wonderful. You tell me now, if you want to be happy at all times, at all places, relating to everything, happiness should belong to the thing you relate with, or to time, or place, or to you. If it belongs to something else, then only when you connect with it, you're going to be okay. If it belongs to you, if it is you, then this is a possibility. This is a possibility if it is you. And our Shastras boldly say what your truth is Ananda. You are what you want to be. You already are what you want to be. Then how come I'm in trouble? Why am I seeking artha, kama, dharma? You tell me. Shastra says you are Ananda. Why are you seeking? That's your problem. Why are you seeking? Because I don't think I am Ananda. I think my Ananda lies elsewhere. I think I'm Dukhi, 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 Dukhi. Then sometimes Sukhi, Dukhi, 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 Sukhi. Sukha comes rarely for a short time. And Dukkha is what? Always. There's a song, Dukh ki chinta kyun satati hai? Dukh to apna sathi hai. This is what Hindi song, somebody wrote this song. Why? Because they believe that sorrow is your company. Is that true? Shastra says something else. Shastra means what here? Veda. And it says what? You are the whole. Okay? So instead of going all over to order things, you can go to one Amazon. Instead of going all over, you can go to the source, one source of all that is here. And that one source, one reality, we call it Ishvara. You heard the word Kalpavriksha, Kamadhenu. You know what's a Kamadhenu? Have you heard of Kamadhenu? What is it? Holy cow? Not holy cow, wish fulfilling cow. Okay? Any wish you make, it'll fulfill it. See, Vasishtha and Vishwamitra. Two people. Vasishtha is a sadhu. Vishwamitra is a wannabe. You know what's a wannabe? He also wants to belong. He says, I want to become like that. And Vishwamitra was a king at some point. So he goes to the forest, and there Vasishtha is having a hermitage. The king has come, and Vasishtha, being the host, wants to take care of all the guests who have come. That's our culture. You take care of your guests. Guest means what, Not the one who calls and tells you, gives a date. I'm coming on the 15th of December. No. Who is Atithi? Guest is Atithi. Atithi. No date. Should just land up on your place, okay? That's Atithi. And these fellows are landed up. No prior intimation. Whole army has come with the king, and they have all got to be fed. How is he going to feed? Vasishtha said, don't worry, we'll take care of your army. And he called Kamadhenu. He had a cow, Kamadhenu, and said, come on, give food. It gave enough and more food, and all the best food to all the people. Vishwamitra was caught licking his chops. And he says, hey, how come this cow, why do you need it? You're in a forest. You're a monk. I have better use for it. I have to feed a huge army. Let me take it with me. That cow is called what? Kamadhenu. Because it's a wish-fulfilling cow. Don't take it a little cow, okay? That's how it's presented in Purana. But the understanding is the capacity to fulfill what you want. So Vishwamitra tries to take it by force. He says, I'll take it. Vasishtha says, if you can, please take her. Kamadhenu says, what should I do? You do whatever you want. What does she do? She produced an army. And what do? They beat up Vishwamitra's army. And he has to go, run for his life. Then he wonders, what is it that this cow has? How come this guy has a cow? He is told, Vasishtha is a Brahmagyani. And Kamadhenu will only stay with him. It will not come to others. So what should you become? If you want to go to Kamadhenu, you should become a Brahmagyani. So now his challenge is what? I will become Brahmagyani. That ego won't take him far. But that's the story. So what is he after? Wish-fulfilling cow. And what is wish-fulfilling cow? Brahmagyani. What is Brahmagyanam? Same as Ishvaragyanam. What is it? All that is here is Ishvara. which includes this body, this mind, these senses. So, in reality, there is only Ishvara. This idea that I'm an individual separate from Ishvara, alienated from Ishvara, is a mistake. You count everything else. The 9 is the Artha Kama Dharma. The 10th is Ishvara, who is in and through Dharma Artha Kama. Not a fourth thing. It is not like a 10th who is separate. It is the 10. See, when you say 10th, if you say 10th, what? So you have 1 first, 2 second, 3 third. What makes the number 10? 10th member will make a set of 10, correct? Now, how many things are here? I'll take 2 more minutes, okay? How many things are here? 3. Now, I ask you, 3? What 3? Small pot, medium pot, big pot. Now, I have a different view of this world. There is only one. It's clay. It's clay. You count now. How many clays? 1 clay. Good. If you say 2, you know what? Clay will be here. Okay. 1 clay. Right? 1 clay. Is clay more real? Is pot more real? Clay is real. 1 clay will take care of the whole world of pots. This is our Amazon, okay? All pots are swallowed by 1 clay. All that is here, in reality, is one Ishvara. And what is the Upanishad? Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Idam sarvam. Whatever is, whatever you say, this, including this, is what? Is Ishvara. Gaining that understanding is the goal, is the objective of the universe. And what will that do for you? You see, all that is here is one whole, and that is me. Are you now going to look for Artha? Are you going to look for Kama? Are you going to look for Dharma? What will you do? You just be. You enjoy this body. Because this body does not limit you anymore. It's just an expression of Ishvara. The mind is an expression of Ishvara. It doesn't limit you. It's a privilege. That is the vision that we are out for. That's the purpose of this retreat, okay? To get an insight as to what the Shastra has to tell us about ourselves and the reality of the universe. This is another reason why I said, where science ends, Veda begins. Science depends on what is observed by an observer outside. There is one truth which includes the observer and the observed. And that truth cannot be discovered by you standing apart as an observer. It has to take away the observer component of you. It has to take away the observed component. But what will remain, which is not absurd, is you are. You can never deny yourself. And that abadhitam satyam is Ishvara. So that is what is this pursuit about. Okay? We'll see more when Swamiji comes in the evening. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.